You're tired, you don't really know what you can do. You feel like if you start a task, you may not actually be able to finish it. And this is something that I think plagues everyone who is decluttering. But if you are battling chronic illness, this actually may be hitting you a little harder than most. So let's talk about that today. Hello friends, I'm Mary Beth with At What Cost, where simple living and deep faith go hand in hand. And that is probably gonna happen at least a dozen more times during this video because my husband and I have a German short-haired pointer. It is frog season at our house, and he is in and out of this house at least a dozen times. I still have not cleaned up from breakfast. If you are new here, welcome to real life. If you are not new around here, then you know that this is gonna get done at some point, but it's not this point. What I wanna talk today about is chronic illness. Because y'all, I am battling a chronic illness that I don't really talk about much here on the channel, but I think that it is actually impacting my decluttering and my motivation a lot more than I anticipated that it actually was. And so I want to share some of that with you today if you too are battling a chronic illness. Now, when it comes to chronic illness, there is no one size fits all decluttering method. We all have various capabilities. We all have challenges that we face in different ways. And so it's hard to just give a tip like first do this and then do that. It just doesn't happen like that. But let me share a few things that I have noticed as I have been decluttering my home over the last 4 years. And there is really one significant thing that I think has changed a lot of my perspective on decluttering. So first off, start small, stay small, and finish small. This is not a race. When you are in the throes of that overwhelm and you just feel like you're not getting anywhere, it can be tempting to just exhaust yourself with a huge project. I did this several times when I was decluttering in those early years when I had a lot to get rid of and I felt so motivated to do it. I would empty out entire rooms, go through everything, take everything to the donation center, throw everything away, and then I would be left with, well, what was left. And in some ways, I was just completely out of steam at that point. I didn't know how I was going to put everything else back together. And to be quite honest, that's most of the problem in our office, which has just been a source of trouble from day one for me. So this time around, taking small steps to declutter. For example, keeping my junk drawer tidy. That has been something that is incredibly helpful to me. It's a small thing that I can do to feel accomplished at the end of the day when I just don't have a lot of energy left. Taking a few things out of there, reorganizing it can really help me feel like I have made at least a small impact in my home. Next night, I may move to the next drawer and then maybe the cabinet below that. And then continually, as you take these small steps, you will have the entire area decluttered. But the process may actually move slower than you think that it will. But whether you go super fast or moderately slow, you're still going to get the same outcome in the end. Doing small 5 to 15 minute projects really helps to maintain the momentum moving forward. The next tip that I have is to do what you can when you can. There may be days that you feel so much better than you typically would. And I think in those times, at least for me, I wanted to get out of the house and go do stuff and have fun and maximize my time. But I really began to learn that I had more good days once I had decluttered much of our home. My stress levels went down. And for me, stress is a huge aggravator of my chronic illness. And I will talk about that at the end of this video. So it is coming. Just know it is there. I just don't talk about it much. Really having to buckle down on those days that I did feel really good and actually doing the work when I had the energy, the stamina, and the help, that's key. That's another key point that we're going to talk about in a minute. Having all of those factors in play, I really could go a lot further in my decluttering. And now on the other side of it, when we are really more in a maintenance mode, granted with more things than I would like for us to have right now, but in those moments when I really feel good and I have a lot of strength and motivation, I want to hit it hard so that I can, work now, play later. Now, I mentioned having help. This is another key component. If you are battling chronic illness and you want to declutter your home, you cannot do this on your own. Yep, see, the dog wants to go out again. I'll be right back. What's wrong, Jenny? You see a frog out there. You jump so high. You cannot, what was I saying? Oh, you cannot do this on your own, especially if you have limitations in your strength, mobility, your energy, all of those things. It can be difficult and frustrating if you have an entire box that you have collected of decluttering your kitchen and you have no strength to actually take it to the car and put it in the donation center. Having someone who can assist you with some of these things is essential to making progress. And I know it's difficult. It can actually be kind of embarrassing to invite someone into our home and ask them to help us get rid of things. But I have found that more often than not, there are people who either enjoy actually doing that. Like, we have a friend who has someone that comes and cleans their house every quarter, and she actually enjoys cleaning, likes it, like seeing like dirty blinds, washing them and seeing them clean. She enjoys that. I don't enjoy that. I think it's a wonderful thing, and let them use their gifts. And don't think for 1 second that your house is the messiest, the only one that's like this, or that you just don't have anything that someone could help you with. Sometimes you just need someone to come and sit with you while you go through papers and chat and, just have a time of fellowship while you are doing some of these decluttering tasks. Now, the next tip is maybe a little, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me in the comments how you feel about it, because I think it may make some people upset. I don't know. Your best tool in decluttering your home is to do the things that actually do make you feel a little better. Now, with a chronic illness, I get it. It's not going away, but most have some level of ebb and flow. And if there are things that help you to feel more energized or more capable, say getting 8 hours of sleep at night, if it is essential for you to function, to get 8 hours of sleep every night, then do the things that you need to do to get yourself in bed on time and allow yourself to sleep until you need to. The decluttering is not going anywhere. Trust me, if you don't touch it, it's still gonna be there tomorrow. Go to bed and get after it the next day. Or maybe eating a more well-balanced diet or taking certain ingredients out of your diet. That may help you to address some of your chronic illness symptoms and then give you the strength, the energy, the stamina to be able to declutter. So maybe some of that help is enlisting someone who can help you with meal planning to meet some dietary needs, or someone that can actually go to the grocery store with you and make meals for you, help you with some of those things that in the end are not going to deplete the energy that you have so that you can then declutter. Now, here's the big revelation that I had and why I am having such a difficult time getting the ball rolling with decluttering again. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but the last several videos, I feel like I've just talked about my clutter and not done a whole lot of actual decluttering. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out why, but I also feel like I've just been spinning my wheels with the why. And then I started thinking about this topic of decluttering with chronic illness, because this is one of the topics that comes up pretty frequently. And although I do not talk about it much, some of you have sent me DMs on Instagram or on Facebook and asked about specific things that you see, or made recommendations as to how I may be able to shed a few pounds. And while I appreciate that very, very much, I really do, it's just not as easy as going on some keto program or something for me. So let me tell you a little bit about my own chronic illness, and none of this is medical advice. Let me just put that disclaimer out there right now. None of this is medical advice. I am not a doctor. I know myself, and you know yourself, and you should talk with your doctor about any of the things that you may be suffering with. This is not medical advice. Okay, are we clear? We're clear? Okay, we're clear. So I have PCOS, and as I am doing more research into this, I think I have adrenal fatigue PCOS. The hard part is there is not much science around any of this. I am 41, and I was diagnosed when I was 18 with PCOS. So that is much of the struggle with our infertility journey. I also have a genetic issue, which is MTHFR. That also causes some problems, but not as many as the PCOS causes. And in the past, I think most people thought PCOS was really just a problem with cysts and not ovulating, but it goes so much deeper than that. And I really have noticed in the last 3 years just how severe my symptoms have become and how challenging it has been for me to get my house in order. And I've started to realize that a lot of this has to do with stress. There are definitely some other factors, and there are things that I have started doing that really are starting to help. But overall, the last 3 years have been incredibly difficult, not just with family crisis that we have had with losing both my father and my father-in-law and the whole host of other things that happened in 2021, 2022, it just so much. There are other videos about that, about the family crisis that we have had. But all of those things have really increased my stress, which increases cortisol, which gives me a lot of really nasty side effects. But mostly what I struggle the most with is fatigue, joint pain, inflammation, and not actually being able to lose weight at all. Regardless of what I try. Trust me, I've tried a lot of things. And all of that has really impacted my ability to declutter. PCOS can also cause issues with anxiety and depression. Both of those I struggle with a lot. And trying to keep my house under control, there are some days that I really feel like I am spinning my wheels. But there was one particular time when all of this felt a ton easier. And then I realized kind of last week why that was. So I'm not sure whether or not you're aware, but in 2020, life changed dramatically for pretty much everybody on the planet. You know this, no one's new here. But that meant that a lot of our outside activities and even just the way that we were living in our home changed. Things didn't just slow down, they came to a complete and hard stop. We were not doing activities at church. We were not doing activities with friends. We were not doing activities at home or school or any of those things. And that is when I started this YouTube channel. I started this channel in January of 2020. And over that year, I decluttered so much. I actually started our decluttering journey in, I would say, July of 2019. I didn't really document any of that aside from a few things that I had put in the Minimal Mom membership group, which is open right now, by the way, and accepting members. And it is a life changer. I would highly encourage you to join that group. But prior to January, I really was not documenting all of the decluttering that I was doing. And then I started really like hardcore decluttering our home. And between, I would say, January of 2020 and January of 2021, I decluttered a tremendous amount of stuff. I felt very motivated. I was not having a lot of issues with fatigue. More toward 2021, I really was struggling with a lot of joint pain and just like strength issues and stamina. And it's just, I'm not looking to invite you all to my pity party. What I hope that you get from this is that you are not alone in feeling like you are too tired, too sad, too broken to do any of this. That's just not true. Now, aside from all of the like practical tips that I have shared and the struggles that I have, what has really made the difference in at least my journey, and I hope that it will for you too, is spending time in God's word and in prayer. Now, it doesn't solve everything, and I certainly am not looking to promote like a, I don't even remember what that is, the thing where you like speak your healing out and it happens. Trust me, as much as I have prayed for this to be taken from me, if that were an actual like movement and I did have the power to heal myself, it'd be done, girl, it'd be done. And it's not. God has created me in this unique way. Without getting like too sappy, I have often told friends and family that God uniquely created me. He genetically created me to not have children so that I would adopt my children because he knew that, obviously he knew how this story was going to end. And I am thankful for that. I truly am. I actually can say that I am thankful for my chronic illness because it has resulted in some really wonderful things. But spending time in God's word and spending time in prayer has been a huge reducer of my stress. It's like starting the day at the starting line and then not having to run the race alone all day. Even if you are not able to meet all of your decluttering goals, spending time in God's word and in prayer may help you come to a place of peace with your chronic illness, which in my opinion is half the battle. God gives us limitations so that we can respond in relying on him. Now, I know that everyone faces unique challenges and you have a wealth of information to share. So please share some of the strategies that have helped you in the comments below. And please be very kind and gentle with our fellow audience members who are suffering with chronic illness. This is a difficult thing for people to navigate. And it just complicates life in general, which is already complicated. But it is my hope that you will find encouragement today, that you will find encouragement from our fellow sisters here in the comments. And until I see you again, keep fighting the good fight. Wondering what this dog is doing? This is it. Yeah, all day, every day, friends. This is his life. It's a good time of the year. See you next time.